Placing instructions, using symbols, and making comments is easy in the MicroWin 4.0 operating environment. There are 4 ways of placing instructions. The first method is to drag and drop. So if I take this normally open contact and I drag it, you'll notice that the arrows will indicate where it will be dropped. So let's place it in this first position here, and let's label this Input Start. You'll notice all undefined symbols will get a green underline, as well as a symbol information table has been created down below. The second method is to double-click on the instruction, and it places the instruction where the square cursor box is located. Let's name this Input Stop. You'll notice that the text has been changed to red. That indicates that it's an invalid symbolic name. That's because stop is actually an instruction that's used to place the PLC in stop mode. So stop is an invalid name, just as next or end would also be invalid symbolic names. So let's change this name to Stop Space 1, which ironically is also an invalid symbolic name. But MicroWin, being intuitive, rather than saying that's invalid, go back and keep trying until you get it correct, will fill in the space with an underscore. So all symbolic names have to be contiguous with no spaces, no gaps. Symbolic names are also case sensitive. Now the third method for placing instructions is to use the icons on the toolbar. So let's place a coil, and this standard coil will be the first output, Q0.0. And the last method for placing an instruction is to use hotkeys. Place the square cursor box where you need the instruction placed, and you'll notice as I hover the mouse over the toolbar icons, it'll tell you that F4 for contacts, F6 for coils, and F9 for function boxes are the hotkeys that are used to place these instruction types. So let's place a normally open contact by hitting F4 and enter. And let's make this the first output as well, Q0.0. And we will use the line up icon to connect to the rung above. And here we've created a classic 3-wire circuit. So now let's define our symbols. You can place the mouse on the address field directly over the symbol and right click and select Define Symbols. Here we get a window where we can assign an address and also create any associated comments. Also, you can double click on a cell in the symbol information table and you get the same window, so you can assign an address or create any associated comments. The last method, which is likely my favorite, is by using this icon on the toolbar to create a table from undefined symbols. You'll notice here we have one symbol table called User1, which is a blank and empty symbol table that comes with every new MicroWin project. And when I click the Create Symbol Table, you'll notice that User2 has been created. So let's double click User2 and see what's in there. We'll notice that we have start and stop from our project. Let's make this first input I0.0, and let's make stop the same input, I0.0. And you'll notice that a red underline has appeared under the addresses. This indicates that you have an overlapping address. It doesn't matter for size or type. If you have a symbol that overlaps a used address or piece of memory, you will get this red underline indicating that. You'll also notice here on the left we have an icon that indicates we have an overlapping symbol that overlaps another predefined symbol. So let's correct this discrepancy by creating I0.1. And we notice how the indicators have now cleared. So let's add one more entry to our symbol table. Let's call this fan and make this the first output, Q0.0. So now when we go back to our program editor screen, you see that we no longer have the green underlines under start and stop 1, but Q0.0 still says Q0.0, which brings me to the second symbol. This icon here will apply the symbols to your project. By selecting that, you'll notice that fan has now replaced Q0.0. And this has been placing instructions, using symbols, and making comments in MicroWin 4.0.